Hello, and welcome to another session from MENA Digital Days. I'm Youssef bin Dhieb. I work as an AI research engineer at Dhieb, and I'm a Google developer expert in machine learning. And today we are going to talk on how you can collaborate on your data on AI projects and how you could build a repository that is shared with all the team members and without having any conflicts in modifying the data. So actually, when you are working on machine learning projects, you have different scenarios you can use to collaborate on the data and on the training of the models and on doing the experiments. And the first scenario is actually this scenario, which is the worst one, actually. So in this case, so you and your teammates are collaborating on the data where the data is, let's say, on a shared drive or on the cloud. And you have access to the raw data. And then each one of you will get the data, pre-process it, and then train the model, and then save the experiment results in a place, or you share the experiment result together. And this is actually the worst scenario because you are not sure you are, after processing the data, you will be working on the same actually processed or cleaned up data. So the model is not, all the models are not trained on the same data. And even for the model training, you are not sure you have the same script to train the model, the same parameters, etc. So this is the worst scenario, and you shouldn't do that at all. Then the second scenario, which most of the people use, is that they have the data shared in a repository in the cloud, or in a cloud bucket, for example, or in a shared drive. And actually, they have the raw data there, but the data processing and the model training are all scripts, and they are actually in GitLab and GitHub. So in that case, when they take the data and process it and train the model, they have for each training, they have the script for the data processing and the model for the model training. So they know what they did exactly, and they can probably reproduce the same results. However, this scenario is not the best scenario to do, because here actually in reality, what you will be doing in an AI project, you will actually fetch the data, then you will do the data processing and the model training. You will have your scripts on Git, but after that, when you get your experiment results, what you will do, you'll be analyzing your data and analyzing the results. And then you will check what was wrong with the data, and you will be cleaning up your data and creating a new version of the data. And then you will train the model again and process the data again and train the model, then get new results. And again, you will stay in this loop actually till the end of the project. You'll be always fixing the data and providing better data and analyzing why your model didn't get 100% accuracy or 99% accuracy. So each time you're trying to increase the accuracy by modifying the data and cleaning up the data. And in this case, if each developer does the same thing, you will end up with different versions of the data, each one. And you will have, even though you have the data processing and the model training committed to Git, and you can see the history there, you will find that you don't have actually the same raw data anymore, because you did some modifications and you did not track what you modified actually. So the third scenario, which is actually the best scenario, is that you create a repository for your data, just for your data, using DVC in GitHub. So GitHub will be used just to track the changes on the data, but you shouldn't store the data itself. I mean, on Git, otherwise it will become like a very very heavy. You shouldn't exceed a specific file size, and you should put your data in a remote, for example, a cloud storage bucket, for example, an S3 bucket or a Google storage bucket, or a shared drive internally. I mean, maybe in a network attached storage, and use DVC to push the data there. So in that case, you will have the different versions of the data online, and you can choose which version of the data before training the model you will be using, and then you train your model on it. Then after that, if you analyze the results and want to modify the data, actually there should be owners for this repo, for this data. So when you want to push the modifications, you will not be able to do that. When doing the modifications, you need to do a pull request or merge request, depending if you're using GitHub or GitLab. And they will be reviewing all the changes you did, and then if they accept that, so it will be merged to the new data, and it will get a new tag, for example, version 2.0 or 3.0, etc. And then you will use that version to train your model, and it will be tracked. So for each experiment, you will get which version you used, the data processing script and the model training script. So yeah, so that's the best scenario to do. And today, what we are going to do, I will demonstrate how you can build that repository, actually, how you could use DVC to do the data versioning and create different versions of your data and track it, and how you could do that in a GitLab or GitHub repository, and how you can access it. I mean, two or more people, access that repository. Okay, so the first thing to do is to create a repository for that. So let me open GitHub. Okay. Yeah, so this is my GitHub. I will create a new repository where we will put actually the files of DVC for tracking the data. Let's give it the name. Yeah, so let's give it the name. For example, my data repository. Okay, data repository DVC demo. Okay, and yeah, so for now I can make it public. Maybe you can also make it private, but you should take into account. So you should take into account that when you put in private for GitHub, when you add collaborators, they will have full access to the GitLab to the GitHub repo, unless you have the team's upgrade or you have a paid version of GitHub. Otherwise, we can keep it public for now for the sake of this tutorial. And okay, let's add a README. Okay, create repository. Okay, here we have the repository. So what should we do? Let's let's show how we can add the data there. And let's first let's install DVC. So let me open terminal here. Let me remove this. Okay. Let's go to repos and then DVC demo. Okay. And here we will actually clone this repository. Asking for my password. Okay. And then, okay, so here we have the repository. We go to my data repository. Okay, so now how can we add data to the repository? So the first thing we need to install DVC. Okay, let's we can. I think I have a Conda environment for that already, where we have DVC. Or we can create a new environment. Okay, Conda create -n. Let's say DVC demo. Python. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Now let's environment. Okay, and we need to install actually DVC. So we'll use pip install DVC and DVC GS, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Okay, almost done. So after installing, yeah, so now we need to initiate actually the DVC repo. So we will write DVC init. It's like we do for git init. And then we will install the git hooks so that when we push, it pushes, when we push the changes with git, it will push also with DVC. Yeah, so let's install the git hooks, DVC install. Okay, all good. And now we need to add a remote bucket in Google Cloud Storage. So let's create one in here. Let's go to console googlecloud.com. Okay. Okay. And here we are in the project DVC demo. Okay. And we need to go to cloud storage and buckets, and we will create a bucket. Okay, we click on create. Then we choose a nice name. Okay, let's say my data repository. Okay, we keep the region like that. Set okay. Okay, and create. Okay, it will not be public. Yeah, so here now we have our data repository. So what we need to do is to add the data, the remote repository to DVC. So we need to put write DVC remote add, and then we give it a name. For example, my remote, let's say, and then we give it the remote storage, and we call that my data repository. Okay. Okay, I think all good. And yeah, so now we need to add the data. So we can add, let's take, for example, some images of, let's say we will train a model on classifying cats and dogs for image classification. So we will create our data in the repo. So let's create a folder called, for example, let's say cat images. Okay. Let's call it cats. Okay. And let's add a few images of cats. Let's take, for example, this one. Save image as. Okay, downloads. And let's take another one. Let's save also this one. Now, okay, let me open Finder. Okay, let me go to the repository. DVC demo in my data repository. Okay, so this is our repository. And let me open another one, new Finder window. And let me put the new images. Okay, in this folder here. Okay, all good. Yeah, so we have the cat folder. And now let's add that to DVC using DVC add. Cats. That's right, yeah, cats. Okay. And let's check it status. Yeah, let's add also these files. So we'll be adding the DVC file, .dvc file cat. We will not be adding like the folder to the Git. So DVC will create the .dvc file for that folder, and we'll add the git ignore. Okay, perfect. So now we have our data added to DVC, and then we need to add. Yeah, we already add actually the casa DVC and git ignore, and then let's check the git status. Okay, perfect. I don't know if DVC they have the same thing or not. Okay. Okay, so let me commit in here. One thing I'm not sure about, if I add a folder, should I add like okay, let's that. Okay, yeah, so let's commit that. So let's do git commit and add a message. And let's say initiate add initial data, for example. Okay, and then we do git push. And then we do a DVC push as well. Yeah, but actually we installed the git hook, so when we write git push, it will also do the DVC push by itself. Then when we go now to the bucket, we go back to the bucket, we'll see that we have some files in here. Yeah, you see we have 3 files. It's for our data. Okay, and now when we go to the repository, actually, we will find that we have the cats.dvc file, and we will have the .dvc here folder. We have the config where we have our remote set up there, and we have the DVC ignore. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So now we add this data to DVC. Let's try to do one thing. So this is the first version of our data. We can create a second version. So, but first, since we are creating a repository, let's give this one, for example, version, give it a tag name. We'll call it v1, for example. So we'll create a new release here, choose tag v1. Here, write v1 first version of the data. Okay. And then we publish the release. Okay, so here we have our tag. Now let's actually, what we do, Let's say we want to modify our data or add something to the data. So here we would like to add also another folder called dogs. Okay, so let's look for dogs images. Okay, yeah, let's choose a photo. We'll choose this one. And we choose, yeah, let's choose this one as well. Okay, now we go here, we create a new folder. We call docs. And I will put these two images to that folder. Okay, perfect. Now we should go back to the terminal and we should add that to DVC as usual. So type DVC add and docs. I don't know if it has the recursive or not. Yeah, it doesn't have, so it's like we did at first, so without the R. DVC add docs. Okay, so here we added the docs, then we need to add also that DVC file that was created for it to Git. So git add docs, the DVC, and that git ignore. And now we just need to commit as usual and then push. So we create our second commit. Okay, added add the docs folder. Now we just push, so git push. Okay, perfect. Yeah, so let's go back to the repository here. And yeah, so we have, we should have the docs as well. Yeah, because I'm in V1, but if we go to the main branch, yeah. So now we have the docs.dvc file here as well. And if we go to the bucket, so these files will be updated. Okay. Yeah, so now let's give this new version here, let's give it also, let's give it a new tag. We call it V2, for example. Yeah, so tags, releases, yeah, let's create a new release, draft new release. We choose a tag, V2. Yeah, we choose this commit, and then V2, and then second version of the data, for example. Okay, so now when we go back to the code, we can see in V2 that we have the cats and dogs, and in V1 we have only the cats dataset. Okay, now what if we want to check that on our system? Yeah, so let's go here. Now, if we want to go to V1, what you should do is just do git checkout, then V1. We need to fetch first, so git fetch all. It will fetch the tags. Yeah, it found the tags. So now we do that. Just do git checkout and git checkout, and then v1 to go to the first version of the data. Okay. And here we do actually DVC pull. It's showing an error about Google storage. Pip. That's weird. Let's try the DVC.js. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay, let's use -f. Let's try it. Yeah. Try the DVC port again. Maybe no. Maybe it could solve it. Let's go back to git checkout v2. So here it doesn't want to do anything. So let me delete the repository of the repository. And then we try to clone again. Okay, so let me go back in here, and then -rf my data repository. Okay, we'll remove everything, and then we'll clone again. So let's go back to the main. Okay, then here we clone with SSH. So git clone. Okay, so we have my data repository, cd my data repository. Let's try git checkout v1. Okay, and now we are in v1 on the first version of the data. So we do DVC pull. Okay, so here it has a problem with the DVC.js. Model in DVC.js. Okay. Usually it works with the DVC.js this way. I don't know why. Let's try to uninstall it and then install it. Okay, install DVC.js. Okay, let's try it again. So then DVC pull. Okay, yes, support but requires DVC.js. I don't know why it's showing this error, but it used to work. Yeah, let's try to solve it. Okay, let's try to have a look. Maybe you find something, Stack Overflow maybe, or okay, maybe we try to install it this way, the DVC.js. Yeah. No, it doesn't work. Okay, that's weird. Let's try it with sudo, maybe. Okay, it's still the same error. Maybe let's try another conda environment. Wait, DVC demo. Okay, let's do the DVC pool from here. Yeah, so here it's working. Yeah, it's probably a conda environment problem. Yeah. So now what we did the DVC pool, and we went back to V1. So when we look at the repository here, we will see only the images of the cats. Okay, and then we can go back and check out to V2 again. We check out V2, and then DVC pool. So when we do git checkout V2, you'll find that you will find the docs.dvc file, but not the docs dataset, because it's not in Git, it's actually in DVC. So what we need to do, we need to do the DVC pool again, and it will pull all the data of the docs. So it will be on the latest data version. Yeah, and you can see here that we have the docs data here. So yeah, so this is how you version your data. So now if you need to give access to someone from your team, how you could do that. So you need to add them to the repository on Google Cloud, and to the repository and to the bucket on Google Cloud, and to the repository on GitHub. So I'm not going to add to the GitHub repo because it's public. But let me show you how you can do that on Google Cloud. So on Google Cloud, you can go to the IAM and admin, and then you go to IAM. And then you can add other people. So I have here already myself added, but with another email from my company. So it's another account, totally another account. And the role I have here is the storage object viewer. So the storage object viewer is able only to view the objects on the cloud storage on that bucket. Yeah, but I cannot modify it. I cannot delete anything from it. And that's how you can protect the bucket if you want. Otherwise, you can give access as a storage object owner, I think, or owner or editor, if you want them to modify the data. But the best thing is to keep them as viewer, and then if there is any update to be done to the data, you should have actually owners of the repository or reviewers, and you should protect your branches, especially the main branch, so that when there is a merge request, you cannot just like merge it as you like. I mean, there should be the project owner who should actually confirm that and accept the merge request. Yeah, so let me show that with this email in here. So what I need to do is, so yeah, let me open another computer. I have a VM here in another server. Let me connect to it. So we go to the new terminal, and here I will SSH into that VM. So here I'm in the VM, and I don't have anything. I will show you also how you, because in what I was doing in my computer, I'm already authenticated to Google Cloud Platform, with the Google Cloud CLI. Now, let's say we don't have anything from scratch. So what I should do, the first thing we will be doing actually is to set up, to set up actually. Well, we can put. Okay, let's set up the GitHub for that. So what we'll be doing, we'll be cloning the repository. But first, since it's a new VM, I need to add my my credentials and for the SSH. Let me do that in here. So I will do SSH keygen to generate SSH keys. Okay, I will save it there. Okay, and now I will copy this key and put it in Git. So let me bring a new window. We go to GitHub. Okay, sign in, and then with this account, and then I will go here for the SSH keys, and then settings, and SSH keys. I will remove, it's an old one. I don't have this VM anymore. A new SSH key, and actually I will copy that. I will name it VM1, and I will copy that in the other screen as. Okay. SSH id rsa.pub. Okay. Okay, so now I have the SSH key added in here. So what I can do, I can, I don't know if I have Git already installed. Let's go to the repository and try to clone. So this is an open repository. It's public. Git clone, then I have it already installed. Okay, perfect. So we have my data repository. So we go to my data repository. Yeah, and we are in the V2 actually in the last commit, but we don't have the data here. And if I didn't get the access, actually let me do one thing for now. Let me remove this person in here and remove access. Yeah. Now, let's do DVC pool. Yeah, we need to install DVC. So we will do pip install DVC and DVC GS. Okay, we need to install pip sudo apt install pip. And so we install pip and we install DVC. So after finishing this installation, we'll install DVC and then so pip install DVC and DVC GS. Okay, all good. And then we will do a DVC pool. Okay, we do a DVC pool. Okay. Didn't detect it. That's weird. Yeah, I think we can add it with the apt package. Install DVC Linux. Okay, so for the install on Linux, okay, let's try the snap install classic DVC. Or we can try this. Okay, let's try this snap install classic DVC. Yeah. Okay, yeah, let's try the DVC pool. Hope it works this time. Okay, we cannot pull because of the storage permission. Actually, yeah, we need to install the Google Cloud to authenticate in it. To install the Google Cloud, let me check the command for Linux. I think it's with Snap as well. Yeah, Snap install Google Cloud CLI. Snap install Google Cloud CLI Classic. Okay, we try it with sudo. And then we just need to authenticate to Google Cloud. Yeah. So now we need to authenticate to Google Cloud. So we just need to write gcloud auth and default application, sorry, default, and then application default login, actually. And then it will give us a URL. I will use it to get a code using my work. Account. Yeah. I just need to copy the code here. And yes. So now we are authenticated. Then we try again DVC pool. But we cannot as well download it. Why? Actually, because I removed the authentication here, the access actually. So we want to give access to this account. So I will click on grant access. Then I write my address in here. Then select role, and we go to cloud storage. We look for cloud storage. Yeah, it's cloud storage here. And then let's say a storage object viewer, so that I can only see the objects and not modify them. Okay, perfect. Now it will take, I think, a few seconds or a few minutes to update so that I can be able to access that. Let me try again. Yeah, everything, yeah, no, it worked. So everything is up to date, and we go to the, no, it's not here, sorry. We can see the data in here. Oh, let's see, okay, yeah. So here we can see that we have the cats DVC, but the cats folder as well. And in the cats folder, we can see the images we have. Yeah, so all good. Okay, yes, so that was it for today's session. Hope you enjoyed it and hope that it helps you in your projects, and I hope to see you in the next session of MENA Digital Days.